Welcome back, folks, to the continuing adventures of X Company. As those that are versed with Mech HQ can already tell, when it rains, it pours. We're in for a fun day. It's Friday, April the third week of our contract, and boy, it's been a busy one. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. So today, we've got two missions happening. One with Big Sky lands, and the other one happening to our central lands. First time that they've actually gotten to deploy this campaign. And it's not a fun one for them. So, uh, we did recently have a month takeover, and as I explained last time, the enemy lost a bit of morale. However, these two missions were generated before that morale tick, so they still featured all of the uh, opportunity to spawn enemy weight and numbers equivalent to their just being normal morale. It's one of the vagaries you sometimes have to deal with. In this case, it looks like the Draconis Combine are really starting to take notice of our presence on this planet, and are making a concerted effort to make sure that we don't stay on it any longer. First off, we've got a hide and seek, which is just a sort of peek and poke mission with our big sky lance, our medium lance. We must destroy half of the enemy units while having less than one-third of our own forces destroyed, so we've got to do more damage to them than they do to us in order to win this. We've got some allies, but once again, it seems like our Lyran friends can't be bothered to provide us anything heavier than light mechs, but a commando and a stinger did us well last time. The problem is what the Draconis decided to send. Firestarter is a light mech, not much of a problem, but a Warhammer is a heavy mech, and it's a heavy mech that's packing PPCs, and plenty of them. That's a danger, because those things together can strip as much as an AC-20, and at much more considerable range. It's backed up by a Trebuchet and a Shadowhawk, which is another long range, and the SHD-2H also is a moderate range attacker, and is backed up by missile platforms, more of those Pegasuses, that Pegasi, the ones that had multiple SRMs, VDAT that we're familiar with, but a Saladin assault hover tank. These things are fragile, but packing an AC-20, so if they get into a bad position, they can crit kill a mech in a single shot. 20 damage is no joke, especially when we're just medium mechs. This is a tough matchup. We are definitely outgunned by the enemy. Now, at the very least, we don't have to worry about reinforcements for this one, but we are going to have to be careful. If we get caught in a bad position and allow the enemy to bring both their long range and short range elements into play, we could get seriously destroyed, and really quickly. This one can go from solid to disaster in a moment, so we're going to have to play it pretty smart. Combat in the mountains favors us slightly, because that means that some of their close-in elements, like the Shadowhawk or the Saladin, will have trouble getting to us. But it also works against us because we overall have much shorter range than the enemy does with their Warhammer and Trebuchet. So we may re-roll this one, especially Rubble Mountain, which would just cause us to slow the hell down. Daylight is fine, and the clear weather is fine. I don't want to mess with that in either direction. So let's go ahead and do our first reroll of the campaign, and see if we can't get something a little better. Wooded. Wooded works for me. That actually can provide us some really good stuff to work with. We are a closer range team, and being able to stick to woods and use them as cover from enemy long range attacks could definitely work in our favor. So I like this. That's a good reroll. Unfortunately, we then have something worse to worry about. Central lances are heavy lance, composed mostly of assault and heavy mechs. Well, I say that. Actually, it's composed of a single assault, a single heavy, and two mediums. But most of them are longer range attack mechs. Unfortunately, we've got a breakthrough. Apparently, the Draconis managed to surround and cut us off, and because of that, we have to flee this battlefield through a weak point in their front line so that we can rejoin our other elements before we get surrounded. The victory conditions for this are just simply run, reach the north edge with more than 2/3 of our starting forces. Unfortunately, no matter what, the defender controls the battlefield on this one, so there's not really much point in fighting a lot because we wouldn't be able to pick up any salvage anyway. We'd get experience, but I just don't know if it would be worth the damage, especially because one of the people going on this, our Captain Kobe, is in a Stalker 4N. Stalker 4Ns are slow. They've only got a 3-5 movement. And because of this, they are particularly unsuited to having to run from the enemy. We're going to have to try to do the best we can to bully him through with a pack of faster mechs. All of our other mechs are at least speed 5 or more. Actually, just all speed 5, but this one's our dervish clusterfuck that it is, at least has some jump jets to rely on. Now, another problem that we have with this one is that it's pitch black. Pitch black is a very nasty debuff. Now, this partially would have worked in our favor, because one of the big debuffs it provides is a huge accuracy penalty to the enemy, which, speaking of which, take a quick look at. We've got a VDET. That's we're experienced with that. Hetzer wheeled assault gun could have been a problem, but it's packed with SRMs, so it's going to be shorter ranged and slow. We should be able to outpace it quickly. The Dragon DRG-1N is a heavy mech, and it's equipped with large lasers as one of its primary weapons. That one's going to be able to engage us for some range, but and since it's a heavy mech, it probably moves at speed 4, so it's going to be able to mostly engage our assault mech. The Guillotine is another medium mech, Guillotine's another medium mech, and if I remember correctly, it's mostly a missile boat, so that one is either going to be a problem or not, depending on how much line of sight blockers we can put between us and the enemy. The Pegasus Scout and Saladin Hover are the real problems on this one, as they can catch up with us, and that Saladin in particular can lay down a withering assault on us if it can keep getting us within range. We're probably going to have to focus fire to knock out these two early on in the mission, and then just make a run for it before everyone else starts to catch up with us. Now, the point I was making with the pitch black is that it severely caps accuracy. Normally good for us, but it also severely caps movement. It requires 4 tiles of movement to enter a pitch black square, which, all of the squares would be pitch black. And since our 3-5 assault has a maximum speed of 5, that means even running, he's only going to be able to move 1 hex a turn. That's not good. Even with the accuracy penalties that we would love to put on the enemy, we just can't afford for it to be pitch black. Now, fortunately, Captain Bullseye is an excellent tactician, and so he can kind of finagle the numbers and figure out the right time to try to push through this. So let's see if we can't get something better than pitch black. I'd like Dusk Dawn. That would be excellent. Moonless Night? No, that's just as bad. Okay, starting to get concerned. Alright, Daylight. Not great, but I'll take it. At the very least, we won't be penalized on our movement. The enemy won't be penalized on their accuracy, but neither will we, so hopefully that'll help us get through the enemy lines. The last one we use, we do have a clear weather. Some rain or something there could benefit us in terms of blocking, but if it gets too heavy, it'll turn things to mud, and then our speed is penalized again. So can't really risk it. Woods River? Huh. The terrain here is really risky. Because we had to use 3 to try to get ourselves into a map where we wouldn't be moving at 1 speed a turn, we've only got 1 reroll, and we have to take whatever we reroll there. Coastal means that we're going to see a lot of water elements, and that can be okay, or it can be a problem. Woods River means that it's going to be generally woods, but there's a river running through it. But if there's a river running through it that blocks our access to our exit, we're hosed. We've only got jump jets on one of these mechs, and if the river is like a deep ravine, we've got nothing that can get across that. We would essentially be stuck. Our only option would be to duke it out and technically win the match on the fact that there are no enemies left standing. And even though this is our heaviest lance, fighting all of this stuff is gonna give us some damage. I'm not super a fan of that. Other coastal options could be just as bad. If we decide to reroll what the general terrain type is, we could end up with something like mountains, which would provide us line of sight blockers. We could end up with forest, which would slow us down, but it would slow the enemy down just as much. Or we could end up with stuff like bogs, which would slow us down, but give the enemy clear lines of sight to take picks at us. It's a tough decision, and I'm going to have to go with my gut that the best thing we're going to do is switch off of coastal. Let's see what Captain Bullseye can provide us with. Heavy urban. Well, that's an interesting one. That's going to be some really tight maneuvering, but at the same time, that's lots of line of sight blockers and lots of things for the bots to get tripped up on. So making the decision to just plow through a Draconis town might have been a wise one in terms of us getting through this unscathed. Now, unfortunately, we do have two people that we need to babysit. We've got two people from the Lyran Commonwealth. Oh, so this is the one you send mediums on. You. Now, since this is a breakthrough attacker, their bots are automatically configured to just cheese it. They've got bots in Mech HQ can get a bit of customization to kind of let them know where their focus should lie. But the default programming that they have for breakthrough just tells them get to the north, get to wherever you're supposed to exit, and get the hell out as quickly as you can. And in general, that's actually what we want them to do. Because any of the allies that we leave behind are going to be more negatives on our contract score. We don't really want that. The these two mechs are also decently fast, so they should make a pretty good job of escaping as long as they don't get, stupid, which is a possibility, and there's very little I can do to help with that. In the worst case scenario, 2/3 of the mechs that we have, which is what we need, would be our 4 out of the total 6. So if just us escape, we can still win. But if we lose 3, we will fail out this condition. And if we lose 2 of the enemies, or 2 of our allies, that's going to lose us all of the nice contract score we had just had with our Lyran's contractors, which isn't something that's completely unsurvivable, but it's not fun. So we've got 2 matches to get through. One that's a straight up fight and one that is a flee, and I honestly don't know which one to start with. I'm thinking probably the one to start with will be this one. The breakthrough attacker we can conduct and try to reach the north edge and see how much damage we take in doing that. Because depending on how beat up our squad gets in this flight, we would really want to mitigate our actions in this particular fight over here. Because if it looks like we're going to start getting ourselves pounded, and we've already lost a lot of effectiveness on our heavy lance, which big pain in the ass that this is happening on Friday because that gives us very little time to actually repair these mechs afterwards. But I think depending on what happens in this breakthrough will help determine how we handle this hide and seek. It is survivable to lose missions in Mech HQ, even though you didn't see me do it much, because it all plays into this contract score. You lose points for losing matches, and you gain points for winning matches, and you lose points for getting people dead, and you lose points at the end of the contract if you are over a certain salvage percentage. But based on the final rating of that contract score at the end of the 4 months that we're on this, is what determines whether we had a successful or unsuccessful contract. Because the Lyrans don't necessarily care if they achieved all their objectives. Everything that they're rating us on, and that all of the people back at the Mercenary Review and Commission Board care about, is how well we performed our job as mercenaries. So, did they succeed? Maybe, maybe not. Did we follow the book while being mercenaries? Yes. That's what we need to aim for. But with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started on this breakthrough. Good luck to everybody. Lovely bings. Never get tired of the bings. Alright, let's get on the ground. 70 tons? No, it's a heavy mech. Can I see more details about this? Alright, I was right that it was mostly a short range, but I was totally off on what it was. I must have been thinking of another mech. But for medium lasers and SRM-6, we do not want to get overly tangled up with this bad boy. It can lay down some withering fire on us, especially because it's got 22 heat sinks. That's pretty well balanced. At 464, it's also got some maneuverability, but not as much as most of our squad, just more than the Stalker, unfortunately. Yeah, in general, I don't want to tangle with this guy too long, especially not while I'm trying to get forces out. Double check to make sure I was still right on what the dragon do. Yeah, I guess I'm just... Must have been another type of dragon. Totally off my game. Medium laser AC5, medium laser LRM-10, and the medium lasers facing rear. This guy actually isn't that much of a threat. Now, he moves pretty fast for a heavy mech. He's as fast as the rest of our faster mechs in the squad. But his shorter range equipment, besides that AC5 and LRM-10, and LRMs have lots of troubles getting into the right position, make him less of a concern than that other guy. Although, look at how much ammo he's carrying. A single good through armor critical on this guy's torso, and he could pop. That would be nice. Now the Saladin, I'm pretty sure I remember this guy. Yeah, he's just an AC-20 with some armor around it. If we can get some side shots on him, he'll go down like, a sack of potatoes. He's just going to explode violently. The Hetzer, double check, yeah, 4.6. It's not the fastest. We should be able to get away from it, especially if some buildings are getting in the way. So let's hope our allies don't get stuck on buildings, and let's hope that the enemies do. Here we go. Enemies mostly have to deploy first. That's nice. Well, that's certainly a straight corridor that we have to run down. Looks like they're mostly on this side. What they've done with this VDET is interesting. Hang on, let me... Yeah, I know I need to deploy, but this is height 7? Height 7. That VDET is kind of puttering around in the basement. The fact that it's deployed here is kind of interesting because with the random basement rules, any one of these hexes this thing rolls into could have a false bottom basement and it just plummets to its death. That's what happened back in the old campaign. The first mech death we had was because of those rules. So let's hope that the enemy makes that mistake for us. Their Pegasus is over on this side, and so is the VDET. Now, and so is their Dragon and Saladin. Now, because they're so far back, they're going to be able to redeploy wherever they want. But I think in general, as long as we kind of go over this side, we should be able to get some distance on them before they can really react and get into a good position. So let's just line up to go through this channel. Although, problem there. Let's see here. What is this? Height 1, is this height 9? Dang it. Height 7. Alright, what I was momentarily thinking was that by, although maybe I could just deploy on there. It's TF200, CF, so, okay, buildings. Quick refresher. Buildings have a couple points on them that are important to know. Height and construction factor. The height of a building tells you how high it is for the standard issue heights of Battletech. Just a quick refresher, height 1 is roughly the height of the vehicle. It comes up to about halfway on a mech. Height 2 is the height of a mech, and a mech behind height 2 is effectively covered up from enemy line of sight, and every additional height is another additional height. Mechs can only generally climb up one elevation level. Vehicles the same. You can use jump jets to jump over elevations, but only as high as your jump jet rating. So, for example, the dervish that we have has a jump jet 5. It can jump over an elevation 5 building, but not this elevation 9. Or wait, yeah, this elevation 9. Construction factor is how much weight the building can take and also how much punishment. If you start whacking on a building, it reduces its construction factor. If you have something sitting on top of a building and you whack that building and its construction factor goes down, that thing can potentially fall through it. Construction factor is essentially says a mech of this tonnage or less can sit on top of this without the building collapsing. So what we might be able to do is plop our dervish on top of this, and we can get all 4 of us in this area. No idea what our allies are going to do. I just gotta kind of hope that they're not idiots. So let's start things off with the trebuchet back here. Draconis are going to deploy more units, probably along, well, no, they decided to just put that guillotine front and center there. It's going to be able to kind of move past here and maybe intercept us. We might get stuck having to fight it in this narrow corridor. Now, if it decides to isolate itself somewhere and we can just alpha strike on it with everybody, maybe we can get lucky and knock that out of the fight before it can really do significant damage. But that's a tussle that I really don't want to get into. Stalker front and center, and the Ostsal right behind it. Where are my allies? It's their turn to deploy. Please don't deploy in places that have basements. Okay, he deployed his Wolverine over here. He's gonna have some problems. That guillotine might catch and destroy him. I'll then have to make some really tough choices about whether I try to help these goobers out or not. We might end up fighting our way through this anyway. Now, a quick double check. The dervishes weighed 55. This was construction factor 58. This one's construction factor 73. And since we've got jump jets on this thing, I'm just going to go ahead and plop it on here. That's a little safer. Deploy it on top of the building. And then on our turn, we'll just jump jet down. All right. Enemy's mostly going to be moving first, apart from our trebuchet. The fact that our guy at the backmost part of the line has to move first is a pain, but it is what it is. And then we get to do a lot of movement in response to their movement. That's pretty excellent. Not that it matters as much on this first turn, but... Okay. Yeah, like I thought, this vidette's kind of trapped. I guess that he's their command and control vidette, or something, because they just kind of slapped him somewhere that he's not going to be able to do anything. Anyway, our goal here is to truck as quickly as we can down this alleyway and try to avoid significant engagement with the enemy if we can. Well, that guillotine jumped on top of that building. Construction factor 92. This thing is a 70-ton mech, so it would take a lot to try to collapse that, but I don't know, maybe? Anyway, for this guy, we're just straight up jumping him into the conga line. The Wolverine is in line of fire of everybody. Stalker trucks as quickly as it can. Ostsal is going to take the lead. It's a heavy mech, it can kind of take it. As I expected on this first turn, we're not going to see a lot. The Ostsal might be able, hang on, height 2, height 9. It's probably not going to be able to see the guillotine. Maybe it will. I kind of doubt it, though. But yeah, Trebuchet's got no shots. Well, unless... Do you have any shots for indirect? No, no one can see that guy, so... Yeah, we're pretty much not doing anything this turn. Yeah, we can't see him, he can't see us. We're not going to take any fire. Our friendly Crab and Wolverine? Well, alright. Crab did something. Lots of misses on the enemy. Super glad to see that, and mostly it was just their vedettes and able to get some shots off. Actually managed to put a little bit of damage on the right side of that vedette for some motive system damage, so that vedette will have difficulty chasing us. Not a bad job, Crab. We're going to get a lot of physical attacks, mostly asking us if we want to punch buildings. We don't have that much of a beef with these Draconis. Not yet, anyway. So, no, I think we're good. Uh, he's taking some risks in heating that crab. I don't like what he's doing. The enemy's still on the back foot. Super glad to see that. In fact, all of them must act before any of ours act. That's going to inform this turn. Okay. We have a really tough decision to make. Right now, the enemy is putting themselves in kind of a flank. We can come through and this side and essentially catch them in the side. Right now, there's not a lot of their guys that can see us, but we could essentially catch this vedette in the side, cut it off, and then maybe move to flank these guys, envelope them, and put some damage on them, allowing our Crab and Wolverine to escape. If we do not do this, the Crab and Wolverine are going to get pounded into mulch. So here's really the decision time. What kind of group is X company? Are we a group that sticks to the letter of the contract? We are told that we need to get our elements through here, so get your elements through here, and we just don't give a shit about the Lyrans who spend their lives fruitlessly fighting a stupid war? Or are we more honorable than that? This is a tough question. If I were a professional like Twitch streamer, this is where I'd start throwing up some queries, do some straw polls, see what people like. My personal thought, maybe somewhere along the middle. Maybe we can pull a little bit of the enemy's attention, but I don't think I'm going to fully commit to the flank. Instead, this turn, I'm going to commit my guys to pointing down this alley, essentially, and making sure that we can put some hurt on that vedette. But otherwise, I'm not going to overall risk my life in order to try to save these guys. Instead, just a quick diversion. Maybe they'll send the guillotine this way, maybe they won't. But any of the mech forces that we can pull into this narrow corridor, we can just leave them stuck there and then escape ourselves. So let's make that happen. Osal, let's see here. Quick check on your ranges. You've mostly got as your main weapons. Uh, Honestly, I need to come up with some way of making this put out the name of these guys better. Either that or just need to start learning. So our OSOL is run by Lieutenant Sergeant Senior Grade Gerald Ureta, 0, packing 2 large lasers, 2 medium lasers, and then 2 medium lasers facing rear, just to make sure, which actually is going to be pretty fun in this match. I forgot about that. But with those large lasers, doesn't need to move all of those squares in order to get into ideal range. The medium lasers wouldn't help by moving one more, so we'll just scoot it up a little bit. Well, that crab is getting into kicking range. Good idea. Not a fan of that. So, if quick reminder, if you make tight turns and move on streets, because the paved ground just doesn't grip as well as normal dirt, mechs have a bad tendency to slip. Now, our stalker is run by our captain, Captain Kobe El Garouge, Bullseye, and he's a piloting 3. If I remember correctly, the pilot check for this is at a -1. He should be guaranteed to do this. Like, gotta roll a 2. Let me double check. No, Oh, right, because the storm. So I don't see any reason to really risk it for that. We'll just scoot him down here. He'll point down. He's got LRM 10 and a pair of large lasers. Scooting one more square isn't going to get him. Well, scooting one more square would get him into the sweet spot for those LRMs. And LRMs could, a pair of LRM or a LRM 10 could do some good work. You know what? No, not risking it. Just not that into saving these guys. At least they're moving sort of quickly, so it's going to be harder for the enemy to get a bead on them. Now, having done that, I've set myself up for a little bit of a problem. Because my options here are sort of limited. But what I could do, maybe, hang on, I'm going to see if I've got enough movement to do this. I don't. So either I pretty much have to keep this dervish moving, and it's only going to be able to, oh wait, what am I thinking? Haha, jump jets. Now that's going to fuck with his accuracy, and build up some heat, but whatever. Safe moves. Safe moves. And lastly, the trebuchet can get in this position just by walking. No problem whatsoever. Its weapons are largely its LRM-15s. That's slightly inside the sweet spot, but that's just going to be a -1 as opposed to the -2 that we'd probably take for the medium range off of moving here. So yeah, I'm gonna accept that. That seems good to me. Besides, that's within medium range of these medium lasers, so we could possibly throw down a couple of those as well. So this VDET is about to have a bad day. We're about to hammer it with our entire lance. And if it doesn't go up in smoke, it's some kind of war hero. So let's just give him, let's see here. That's going to put me at 17. I think that that's more than enough. I do not want to be overheating these guys because I need to save a lot of that heat for just general movement. So I'm going to call that good. The Stalker has a lot more heat build up. Don't believe that 26. The Stalker 4N comes with combat computers that automatically mitigate heat, up to 4 points a turn. This thing has up to 30 points of heat soak. It can fire everything nearly every turn and just not give a shit. Oh, 4 to hit. This is why he's the captain. He is an accurate son of a bitch. That's a medium range shot, and he's still looking at a 91% chance to land that on target. He is amazing. So let's go ahead, do some quick math here. Large laser is going to put him up 17. If we then throw on the LRM-10, that's going to put him up 21. And then we could get down 24, 27, 31. We could toss all of that and still only be up 1 point. So let's do it that way. Large laser, toss out a medium, and a medium. And then finally, some LRM-10 to finish us off. And if that VDET doesn't go up in smoke, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Which I could be. You never know. So this guy's accuracy is piss. We're just going to be tossing some shots here for funsies. He's actually within the sweet spot for LRMs, but unfortunately that storm is really fucking with things. I just don't even think it's worth it to fire with him on those LRMs. We'll just toss out a medium laser and a medium laser. It's extra shots. It shouldn't even matter. The trebuchet, unfortunately we're actually kind of in the same problem with the trebuchet. Anyone who's not our commander is going to have problems getting missiles through this storm. Which, you know, that also means the enemy's going to have trouble getting missiles through that storm. That's really going to neuter that SRM tank. I should have thought about that. But for right now, that means that we'll just stick to medium lasers. Nice, perfect heat buildup. And let's see what happens. So the VDET decided to fire our way. and unfortunately took our Osal on the arm. Osals are heavy mechs, but unfortunately they're kind of light on the armor because they put a lot of their tonnage into their engines. So they're fast, but they can't take huge punishment. That said, they can take punishment better than a lot of our than some of our mediums. Although I think the mediums that we have on this one are also pretty good, except for the Dervish. The Dervish fucking sucks. Anyway, now this is what I was worried about. The dragon is laying into the crab, actually manages to hit with that LRM despite the storm. Hits with that AC5, hits with medium laser, hits with all sorts, misses, but hits with another, with that large laser. The crab's taken damage all over and is going to have to make a check at this point. It's definitely taken more than 20 damage. Now our assault manages to lance into the side of that Vedette and not put a critical hit on its turret, knocking out its AC5. This thing only has a MG left. It's effectively crippled. And then it's crippled. And then our commander just frickin' destroys it with a delightful large laser into its right side, destroying the section and stunning the crew for by how much its vehicle was there destroyed. And we don't explode it, but it's out of the game. It's done. That's at least one fewer thing to lay down fire on our friends. And unfortunately, that crab is fugged. Because of the storm, any attempt to fall down is... Piloting is just really nasty in a heavy storm. Which can work against us, but can also work for us if we can, say, knock over any of the enemy mechs. But in this case, it's kind of doomed this crab. He's got piloting skill 6. He was a scrub lord to begin with. I mean, that's green. Base piloting skill is 5 for inner sphere guys, but 6, he was a green. He's got storm problems. I feel bad for him, son. He's going to need a 9 to stand up each turn. He's pretty much going to be boned. There's nothing I can do for that crab right now. It's gonna be up to Nuffle. Sorry, Lyrans. Should have thought better. No, I'm not beating up the buildings. I don't give that much of a shit. And that crab is getting stepped on. The Wolverine... Oh, no. So unfortunately, the Wolverine decided to kick in a storm. And failed. And fell. And now the Wolverine's on the ground and is in the same position as the crab. Well, I'm really glad that we didn't commit, because these two suckers are fucking doomed. I mean, there's really no way else to put it. They're on their asses and they have no chance of getting back up. Well, they have some chance, but it's a very small chance. They'll be looking at making a, let's see here. What, is this guy also a 6? Jesus, fucking FNG squad. These guys are going to be looking at a 9 plus each turn to try to stand up. Now, they can try to stand up multiple times, but every time they fuck up, their pilot's going to have to roll to avoid taking damage, and the avoid taking damage roll is hard. You got to roll 10 to avoid it. Now, that means that they're going to slowly beat themselves into submission. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think we can save them. Now, we kept ourselves pretty heat neutral that turn. Wise decisions. We had more than enough to nuke the Vedette anyway. Now, once again, we've got some pretty good initiatives. We're going to be able to figure out a lot of what the enemy's doing. Most of that coming from that +5 off of our commander. Good old Commander Bullseye is an excellent tactician and is going to lead us through this. You see. For right now, though, we got to see what the Draconis are going to do. And, I don't know. Maybe we can do something to save them, but I kind of doubt it. Okay, I guess he abandoned the unit. I didn't think it was that badly damaged. Maybe he abandoned it because he knew that he couldn't get through the storm. Yeah, I think that this guy is just giving up. In fact, Here's my headcanon. The entire reason that we are getting encapsulated is these fuckers are turncoats. They figured out that this encirclement was happening and figured that they better narc on us to the Draconis before they get their asses killed. They called in, rung them up, let them know that there are a bunch of mercenaries that are operating behind their lines. If you can encircle them around here, you can cut them off, and that'll get rid of all the problems. And we'll just run a bunch of mechs up to your guys and be like, oh yeah, we're fighting. Oh no, I'm gonna kick. Oh, I fell over. Oh, I guess I gotta abandon my mech. Yeah, no, I'm not buying it for an instant. Let's get the hell out of here before these turncoats can cause us any more problems. Well, looks like they're planning on feeding me another vedette. I mean, I don't mind that. I am hungry for vedettes. So first off, we're just gonna kind of back up a little, and then, well, cause a slight jam at this intersection. Fortunately, the dervish can do its own thing, but we're probably going to be a little cram-a-lammed up here. Might only be able to get good shots with our... Let's see here. Yeah, it would take a full 1, 2, 3 to turn around. 4, 5. And from there, I would be making checks, and I don't want to end up like those guys. So once again, safe movements. Just nice, predictable, easy ones. Just throw it into reverse. Backing up, turning. And the dervish can jump over here and get some pops off on that vedette. What's your LRM? How greedy are you feeling? Greedy? Alright, alright. I'll let you have this one. I am absolutely right. Okay. Yeah, no, look at this. They didn't even bother trying to get up. They had a chance. They could have. I just laid out what their numbers would have been. But no, they said fuck it. They're ejecting. They're out of here. These are a bunch of turncoats. Virginia Bengash and Suzanne McKillen, they are turncoats. They have gone native. They are using chopsticks and screaming about honor. Well, I think this is a shame for display. And I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm gonna make them pay a little bit, though. Gonna blow up a bunch of their tanks. That'll fucking show them. So, large laser, exactly what we did last time. Well, those mediums aren't going to actually do a hell of a lot at this range. But it's not like I can lay down anything else. So yeah, let's not bother with the LRM-10. Too much penalty from the storm. Just toss down a bunch of medium lasers and your larges. All downrange, you'll be heat neutral, and who knows, maybe we'll even take that guy out. Trebuchet, since we do have eyes on that vedette, we could theoretically switch into indirect mode. Oh, no wait, right, we have to actually have someone spot. I think I might have the firing rules set up wrong, because firing is supposed to be, you can pick whoever goes and in what order. Although maybe the individual initiative rules that I enabled kind of work for both. I'll double check that, but I think I can accept this. We got no spotter, we don't have indirect fire, he's done. We don't have a spotter, we don't have indirect fire, and this one doesn't have anything to indirectly fire anyway, we're done. This guy has really shitty shots. We'll take them anyway. Who cares? Hey, fuck your tank. Now, unfortunately, that's just immobilized by damage that we did to their motive system. Like, we made them throw a track. So, in a greater campaign, they'd be able to fix that and put that tank back into service, unlike the other one that we just fucking melted half of. But hey, that's another effective kill for our captain. Don't let me forget that number 2, He's a kill for our captain. Oh, I should start taking notes. I used to do that. Hang on. Let's see. VDET 2. Yeah. So that's 2 kills for our good captain this round. I'm not kicking buildings. I'm not going to do it. These civilians didn't do anything to me. It's the damn turncoats. They're the ones that I have a problem with. Oh, delicious. Anyway, 99%? The hell are you talking about? I got 100%. Unless, is it counting? It might be counting some of my money from the shots that I've taken. I mean, that's hilarious, but whatever. Okay. Yeah, they are recouping and they're trying to get a beat on us, so it's time to fucking go. Just go, go, go. Running in a straight line, doesn't care. Storm, whatever. Inertia is working in our favor on that one. For the dervish, we're just going to keep jumping into the right positions. In fact, let's just, since you can jump forever, you're going to be our rear vanguard. Just keep eyes on, whoever is coming behind us. Trebuchet, scoot, scoot, scoot. The only thing that can intercept us is the guy who's stuck in a bomb basin. So let's just get the hell out of here. Yep, that VDET went up. Not going to have any firing. I'm not going to kick the buildings. I'm not going to get any salvage off this operation. Damn it. Most of the enemies have to move before us again. We'll see what they do. Mostly they panic. They have no idea what's going on. They managed to claim the turncoats, but they're like, but where are the mercenaries? And who blew up these tanks? Could these things be related? I don't know. I'm too busy thinking about honor. Look at me being all Battletech racist. Probably need to get this dervish into the conga line, honestly, so we'll go ahead and jump him this turn just to make sure he's facing in the right direction. But no one's behind us. No one's in front of us. We are just getting the hell out of here. Let's see what the bot does. Where did they go? Set up a patrol. What's that noise over there? Whose footprints are these? And unfortunately, this traffic jam's gonna fuck with my stalker a bit. Nothing to be done for it. Yeah, we are just cruising. We're getting the hell out of here. They did not catch us on this highway, and they're not even going to try. They're going to be like, well, maybe the fact is they're not idiots. They realize that this is a straight corridor, and both things that ended up on a straight corridor with even one of our mechs detonated. So they're like, oh, no, the mercenaries broke through the blockade. We weren't able to catch them. Oh, dang. Duh, that would have been really great if we could have caught them, but just shucks, just got right through. Well, better luck next time. Fucking Draconis. I am actually super amused. This bot has no idea what's going on. I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with it. I think right now it's trying to be extra cautious because of the storm penalties. It doesn't want to turn around fast. It doesn't want to make any attempts to make piloting checks. Wish our guys had fucking done that. I can't really blame, even though dirty, filthy traitor, obviously, can't really blame the crab for what happened to him, or her rather. At least I can assume that name seemed kind of feminine. I guess that's bad of me to assume. But anyway, whatever happened to that pilot, can't super blame them. They had to make the piloting check on the 20 plus damage that they had no control over. That other guy that did the kick, though, that was entirely his fault. He should have known better than making a kick when it's storming. If he fell on his ass, he was never going to get up again. That's why they're clearly turncoats. Maybe just that one's the turncoat. Maybe the one that was in the Wolverine is really the turncoat. The crab isn't in on this. The crab's got no idea what the hell's going on. The crab just thought that this was an honest-to-God patrol that got caught. But no, the Wolverine pilot sold all of us out. I'm going to be watching for that person. I've got them on the record now. I can always go back and reference these tapes, be like, yep, it was that pilot that was there. If we see that name again, we know kill on sight. They can't be trusted. They'll backstab anybody. Although in that case, maybe it's pretty good that the Draconis ended up with such a turncoat. I'm not punching these buildings. Stop insisting. Well, at the very least, the video length for this one and the video length for the next one will be sort of balanced out by the fact that this one contained all the explanation for this fight. Because this is going to be a pretty quick mission. We're going to go ahead and deploy our guys here, waiting for the commander to show back up. We aren't filthy turncoats, so we care about our commander's well-being. We want to make sure that he's safe and in position before we flee the map. And even though technically it calls on me to withdraw from the map, I'm going to declare victory once I get to the end, because if I actually fleed everyone off the map, I would have no forces on the board and it would declare automatic failure. So just going to nip that in the bud. Nope, 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 we're not shooting. Also, not punching. I don't know how you don't understand this yet. So this is round 10 for literally, like, first round was we came in here, blew up a VDET. No, first round was movement. Second round blew up a VDET. Third round blew up another VDET. And then 7 rounds after that, oh, okay, they're finally starting to get in order. This Pegasus in particular has figured out, guys, what are you doing? Why are you loitering around here? He wasn't in on it. He didn't get the memo about how, we're just going to avoid getting blown up today. We've gotten our 2 turncoats, and that's our quota. He's rushing ahead. He wants to get him some mercenaries. I'm almost tempted to just kind of sit here and set up a blockade for whatever dumb cluck decides to come down this hallway. Might be funny. Might not be. Spirit of the game, we should just go ahead and leave. We already established that we're not in this to, be honorable or, try to save our allies too much. We're in this to make a buck. That's what we're here for. We have a board of directors that we have to answer to. We're a company, goddammit, but we're also a company. And so we're going to vamoose. We're not going to do a last stand, try to pick up any of these guys that are stupid enough to file themselves down a narrow corridor. We're just going to sit tight, get ourselves into a position where we can escape, set up Overwatch to help make sure that our commander gets here, turn and back up a bunch, and he's almost there, almost in position. If this trebuchet just kind of scoots over here. Come on. The enemy still hasn't decided to look down that alleyway, so the trebuchet, piloted by our Corporal Luke Hogg Kelly, is in position to escape. Effectively escaped, we'll just declare that. Captain Bullseye is in position to escape. Our Osal, led by Lieutenant Zero, in position to escapes. Our Dervish, led by Sergeant Genie, is in position to escapes. Let's call that slash victory. And Draconis just have no idea what happened here. Draconis HQ is going to be like, well, how did the mercenary slip through? You had all of this information about how to catch them. You were told outright by the turncoat. And they're like, oh, well, it was stormy. It was overcast. They specifically broke through when it was light as day. How did you miss them? Well, there was all these buildings in the way, and I was pretty tired, and we had to do police procedure on the turncoat, and the other guy who was like, what happened? And we just had to make sure that we did everything by the book. We didn't need to risk stuff. If we started running around willy nilly, maybe someone could have fallen, gotten bruised and hurt. And Draconis is just like, you're not getting a promotion. Whoever you are in charge of the guillotine, heaviest mech on here, Barbara Fitzgerald, you're not up for a promotion this year. You don't have the kind of initiative it takes. You don't have that go get 'em attitude that Draconis Combine wants out of all of its BattleTech pilots. I'm sorry, you really just let yourself down on that one. So we achieved victory conditions. Should have left it on the map, but honestly, what is there to talk about? We followed the sick strat of we traveled in a straight line for 12 turns. And let the AI get tripped up. Really, what this proves more than anything is a bit of luck, but also the great usefulness of having a commander that is such a fucking tactical genius that even if we were looking to get cut off by a river at the middle of night, he instead said, no, if we take this route, not only will it be daylight, we'll travel through this Draconis town of, I don't know, let's call it Gaijin. That seems hilarious. The Draconis town of Gaijin, and just cruise down this main interstate. And as long as the Draconis don't deploy right, we can just keep going. Chugga, 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 and they'll have no chance of turning around in this heavy storm that we're seeing here and catching us in time. Bullseye is a great leader, and I'm going to fight anyone who says otherwise. Alright, well, no damage on that one. Only refits that we'll have to do will be reloading the couple rounds of missiles that we shot. So all in all, I really couldn't ask for a better breakthrough. Except, I guess, for one that didn't involve us losing to friendly mechs, but what could you do? They fucking turned themselves over. Anyway, that's all for this time, and then I will see you immediately for the next one. See you later.